So welcome to ProfileTree TV, and today we're joined by Adam Pearce from Ecommerce. So Adam, thank you very much for taking time out to chat to us today.
Thanks, Kieran. Good to be here.
Brilliant. So you wouldn't mind starting off with telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, great. So as you said, my name's Adam Pearce. I'm actually one of the co-founders of Ecommerce, and essentially what we are a Shopify e-commerce agency. So we tend to work with kind of brands that are kind of on a big growth trajectory, but are looking to make sure that their e-commerce offer is the best it can possibly be. So yeah, from a business point of view, that's me. Married, have a three-month-old daughter rather. So yeah, she's keeping me busy outside of work as well. So yeah, that's a little about me.
Amazing. I know the story there. So plenty of sleepless nights ahead.
Oh, and that's not from work, that's from my daughter.
Oh, you know it. That's amazing. So Ecommerce. So what exactly do you do if anyone was asking?
Yes, I mean, when people ask us, we sometimes will say that we're a holistic team. And what that means for us is that when we kind of started the business, we saw that there were Shopify developers, there were Shopify marketers, but there wasn't really anyone you could go to that said, look, we can actually help a business really kind of from business planning stage all the way through to that marketing piece. So what we did is that from my point of view as a marketer, I joined with Peter, who was a developer, and we said, look, we can offer that full through package. So when a client comes to us and they say, look, we want to really grow our business this year, it might be that one client is then going to get maybe a newly redesigned Shopify store with marketing, or it might be that actually they've got a great Shopify store, but they're not using the data and the information they generate with that to be able to market it effectively. So when people come to us, we've got a team of lots of different people in-house, and then we say, right, in order to help that business grow, these are the people that are going to work best for you. So we have, essentially a team of people that help a business grow online. And again, 100% always going to be using Shopify as the sort of e-commerce platform of choice. And then when it comes to, other services offer, we offer a lot of the traditional services that some digital marketing agencies offer. But one of the things that we're really strong on is that we do a lot with Klaviyo, which is an email marketing platform. But it's just a really, really powerful way for businesses to be able to sell products online.
Amazing, excellent, and of course the trend now, getting people going online and selling the products and services, is incredible. Like it's just every year it's just bigger and bigger and bigger.
No, absolutely. I think there's kind of two sides to it. I think as well, in that when people think about starting a business now, I think kind of probably 10 or 15 years ago, you would always think about kind of having a shop or having an office, and now a lot of people obviously think automatically, right, it's going to be online. And I think the other side of it is that, with all the press at the moment about what's happening in retail in terms of the high street, there's again, been that massive push towards making sure that when people are selling online, that customers get that same level of experience that they get when they're in a physical shop as well. So I think it's been a boom really in both ends of the market, startup and also sort of, those longer, more established businesses.
Incredible. And who would be a typical client that you'd work with?
No, it's a really good question. I mean, to be honest with you, we tend to work with businesses that tend to be between sort of, I would say a year and 2 years old. That's kind of when people say the sweet spot, that is the group we work with. And they tend to be people that have had sort of dipped their toe into e-commerce. Maybe it's kind of gone okay, but they realise there's still a lot more to do. So when we work with those kind of companies, those are the companies that we tend to be able to help a lot. In terms of the type of businesses, it is massively varied. So if I give you an example at the moment, we are working with a New York-based bicycle brand. We're working with a San Francisco-based baseball bat provider that provides baseball bats to Major League Baseball players. We have B2B business in the UK. We've got clothing brands in Australia. So, I think the main thing for us is that we don't tend to say, for example, specialise in a product. The important thing for us is, okay, what stage is that business at? What are they doing? And with the technical and marketing skills that we've got, can we help them? So, we're certainly not an agency for every business, but for those businesses that we know that we can help, we add quite a lot of value to them.
Amazing. And we talk about Shopify, and I know maybe a lot of people watching this would know what Shopify is, but for the few people who don't, you wouldn't mind explaining that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Shopify is quite an interesting story because it was started out by a group of developers that are also snowboarders, and they wanted to actually start selling snowboarding equipment online. And Toby looked at the now CEO of Shopify, looked at it and said, well, look, if you're a business trying to sell online, and this was kind of 10 years ago when they were initially looking at it, it was very much geared up for bigger businesses, massive investment, loads of technical skill needed. And he kind of said, look, there needs to be an easier way to do this so that guys like us can essentially then be able to sell online. And what he did is that he took a coding language called Ruby on Rails and sort of adapted that and wrote his own coding language, which is called Liquid. And off the back of that, they were then able to build a platform which enabled them to sell their snowboarding products online. And what they said is, look, guys, look, we cannot be the only people out there who want to start selling products with an easier way to actually sell. So Shopify was set up, and initially it was, and it still is, it is a fully hosted cloud-based platform. So what that means, in simple terms, because again, I'm not a technical person, I'm a marketer, but what that means is, look, it is somewhere where you can go, you can pay a monthly subscription, you can then have build a website with a theme and amend that theme and use apps and have custom coding on it. But Shopify will look after all that hosting stuff that you would have to pay extra for elsewhere. They have a really good platform, which means you can connect Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising, all of the things that you would expect when you shop with a big e-commerce brand, but it enables someone who literally is by themselves to start a business. And what's interesting is with Shopify is that when it started out, it was very much a platform for small, very sort of tiny businesses. What's happened over the past 2 or 3 years is that huge brands are now using Shopify. You've got the likes of Tesla, you've got the likes of Budweiser, Penguin Publishing, and then some massive success stories like Kylie Jenner, who's got the world's most successful Shopify store, and also Gymshark, who again are a massive UK success story. They basically went from 2 guys in a garage making sort of basically gym wear, and now they've got a company that's worth 125 million plus. So it's one of those things that it's quite a good time to be around because it's a new platform. But if you are selling online, it's 100% for that. Shopify don't pretend to be a platform for everyone. They are an e-commerce platform for selling products and services for businesses at any size.
Amazing, excellent. So, wow, what a background on Shopify. So very clear now. So, is it hard for someone to set up an e-commerce business, or how would someone even think about it or start it?
I mean, Charlie, it's an interesting question because when people are going to talk about starting an e-commerce business, I always try and think about it in 2 ways, because in terms of setting up an e-commerce site versus setting up a business, I think it's quite important to distinguish between the two because, frankly, if you and I ended this call now, we could both jump onto Shopify, we could create an account, we could choose a theme, and we could literally be live in let's say half an hour. So doing that is really, really straightforward. The difficulty is, and this is where some people, kind of get frustrated, is that they often kind of think about that too much first. And what I think, the thing is that we found is that it's the rest of it, the core part of the business. So, look, who are my target audience? What do they expect? What do they expect of a product? What do they expect of customer service? How am I going to reach them? What's the story that I'm telling on the actual e-commerce site itself? And a lot of the time, I think, that is the really tricky part that a lot of our clients tend to need help with at varying different levels. And I think the other interesting thing, is that if we think about brands that, and products that we buy, the relationship we have with those as time goes on also changes. So it's about making sure that we can adapt. And that's, kind of one of the really strong things about Gymshark is that all the way through, with their Shopify, they looked at it as a business and they realized they had to change the way they promoted it, the products that they sold. And I'm seeing that with their recent marketing, they really are now focusing on kind of smaller niche areas. So I think, look, the nuts and bolts of let's start a Shopify store, relatively straightforward. Getting one that's going to perform and is going to get clients coming back and getting people to it, that's the bit where the real, hard graft works.
Excellent. And I share your pain there, because a lot of people come to us after maybe they've built a website and with someone, or they've had a website 6 months, no one's visited the website, but they've got the most beautiful website in the world. It's like, spend a couple of months making it, and they blew all the budget in that, and didn't invest anything in marketing. And I guess we're two marketeers. We're playing the same fiddle, but it's all down to marketing. It's we tell people it's 80-20. So 20% in the website, 80% has to go into the marketing, because if no one knows your product's there or service, you're not going to sell much.
No,
So
absolutely.
disaster.
We've got a little sort of story, sort of blog on our website, which is about a hotel in the desert, and we use this quite a lot, and it's kind of like exactly like say, Kieran, you imagine a sort of a beautiful hotel, great food, great entertainment, great drinks, lovely, fresh sheets, all that kind of stuff you'd expect. But if you imagine that in the middle of a desert where there's no roads, it's exactly like you described there. You're having a fantastic, what you see as an asset, but if you haven't got the route to getting people to it, then, like you say, frankly, there isn't any point.
Yeah, dead in the water. No, brilliant. So is there any challenges in the e-commerce industry at the moment, or is there things that are hard or difficult that maybe business owners need to be aware of?
No, absolutely. I think, it's the interesting thing, I think, is retail in general, because, specifically in the UK, with what is happening in terms of people's spending habits. I mean, obviously there was a stats over Christmas, that every pound that's spent in the UK that isn't food, 1 in 3 spent online. And I think the challenge is that for retailers, small and large, is the smaller retailers that are kind of brick and mortar businesses, how do they cost effectively create an e-commerce store that is going to give them the results? And equally, because at the under end of the scale, retailers who are traditionally, 20, 30 years in kind of, brick and mortar business, how do they also get something online that is going to give people that same experience that they expect when they go in store? So I think that's the biggest challenge in terms of how do we convert what we do on a day-to-day, customer service-wise particularly, into e-commerce. And I think the other side of it as well is, from an e-commerce marketing point of view, is using the right channels to get people coming back. And I think, retention is something that is not always thought about. When people kind of start an online business, it tends to be focused, right, we've got to get people buying. Once they've bought, great. We kind of then are proactively marketing to get new clients. And, Ken, I'm sure, like you say with your clients, it's also a lot of time you've got to think about retaining those clients, getting them coming back, because obviously from a profitability point of view, that's always going to be the cheapest way to, to get more business coming through. So I think that those, for me, are the biggest things that we're working on, when we have new clients coming in, getting them something that's going to fit. And also with our marketing, we tend to focus more heavily on looking at the retention side of it, which is why we use something like Klaviyo for email marketing, because it is very much built around, right, looking at data of what people did and then trying to then get them back into that store to keep buying.
Very, very interesting. And is it, we were talking earlier how more and more people are coming online and even setting up their own stores. Is it becoming harder to market a business in a market that's getting busier?
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, we've had a massive learning curve, I think, probably over the past 12 months, because I think, as a Shopify expert agency, we're one of sort of 1,000 plus sort of verified Shopify expert agencies. And within that, of course, when you go and market your business, you often, we start out saying, look, we are a Shopify development, design and marketing agency. But frankly, from an individual entrepreneur's point of view, if everyone's, is kind of saying that, well, how am I going to choose? How would you kind of decipher? One of the things that we've done is that we are now only work with a premium Shopify thing, which is called Turbo by Out of the Sandbox. And what that does is that it means that we only will build with that theme for clients. Now, the reason we do that is because it's absolutely jam-packed with features. And the way that kind of themes work is that you essentially buy a theme, which is a template, and different themes have different features. Turbo, by and large, has the most amount of features. Now, you might be thinking, well, hang on a minute, well, why would they want a theme that means they have to do less work for? Well, the point is that because it has so many features, we can then build more and more things into that to make it feel like a fully customized website. And equally, one of the things our clients like is that, unlike maybe kind of other platforms, it means that clients don't have to come back to a developer like us and pay a big management fee or a retainer fee. A lot of the activities they want to do, they can actually just do themselves. So I think that the thing for us is that we have had to say, look, we are in this niche of using the sandbox theme and making sure that we are focusing on that rather than trying to be a kind of one size fits all agency, because clearly that's never going to work. So
No.
that's kind of how we've positioned ourselves.
Amazing, excellent, and I can see from what you're saying, you're focused on the end user, the customer, because actually you're trying to get them the best solution and enable them to do some work themselves, as opposed to obviously always looking for the recurring fees. So that's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, being honest with you, Kieran, look, we're a business. Of course we want to make money, but I think the point is for us is that if we can get clients having a really good experience, that then for us from a marketing point of view is even better, because the testimonials that we've got all have our clients talking about the results we've actually delivered. So if we can do that, the better, because it then means just future business.
It's incredible, yeah, and the referrals and everything comes on the back of good relationships. So incredible, brilliant. I love it. So obviously, being experts in the niche, you'd have some ninja tips and tricks for people to cut off 3 months and 6 months off their journey. Is there common things that people should avoid, or things that people should think of and do in trying to market their business or the e-commerce business online?
No, definitely. I mean, I think that the key thing that we always talk about is that, finding a product that you would actually use, and if you can love it, even better. Our most successful clients are clients that have either had experience or it's come from an issue they've been trying to solve. And one where, they have been able to kind of really be able to tell a story about it. Storytelling gets talked a lot about at the moment. But what that means is that, like, for example, when you asked me about my business today, because I love my business, I was able to tell you straight away what we did. If you can't do that and you can't tell people why you're doing it and what the benefit is to them, then really it's very hard to be able to do it. And, when Shopify first started, a lot of people were using drop shipping as a way to, try and make money. Now, some people do still use drop shipping and they can make good money, but increasingly we're seeing in the market, it's very, very difficult to do because, A, the products are very similar, and B, when you don't really feel that attached to something, it's very hard to convey through your marketing that it's actually something worthwhile having. So I think that's the number one thing I would recommend. The other thing I would say as well is that the top tip for 2019 for me, if you are using Facebook, as a tool, because it's always something in e-commerce that people talk about, using chatbots, we have seen a massive turnaround for some of our clients in terms of getting through the door essentially to buy, because if you're looking at kind of the way that people engage using messaging on Facebook, the response rate on those versus kind of doing your standard product ads on Facebook has just been so much better. And I think for me, I would say, look, yes, okay, as an e-commerce business owner, yes, use Facebook advertising, but use it with that chatbot marketing to make sure that you're getting people into a kind of sales flow, because you can then pull out email addresses, you can put them into email marketing flows, you can retarget to them, and also you've got that direct communication going. So again, it's about having that ability to be able to talk about your product. And if you can do that, you'll be able to set up a chatbot to start that conversation and then keep that going.
Wow, incredible. What a tactic. Yeah, so chatbots are hot then.
Absolutely.
Amazing. That's incredible. Thank you very much. So what's next then for yourselves? What's the future roadmap look like?
Yeah, I mean, so as I said, we are, excuse me, we're in a stage now where we've gone from kind of a very small team to a bigger team. We're now there's 7 of us. We're looking to grow that in 2019. The reason we're looking to grow that is because we've been working internally on some very specific functionality for Shopify stores.
Mm-hmm.
And what this will mean is, without kind of giving too much away at this stage, because it is sort of still in beta, is that the amount of control and the amount of design that an individual can do with a Shopify store will actually be made probably kind of 5 or 6 times better by the implementation that we're going to give. So it's difficult to kind of give more information. What it will mean is just that we're going to give more control to Shopify users, and they will be able to get an even better customizable experience for that of their clients. So that's kind of what our focus is for this year.
Amazing. Sounds incredible. Wow, I'll have to keep an eye out for this.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Excellent. Well, thank you again for your time today. So it's really interesting to find out, more about Shopify, something we know a little bit about, but not a lot. So really interesting to find out more about it. And thank you for sharing your tips around e-commerce as well. So really appreciate that. And no doubt if anyone wants to reach out to have a chat with yourself or find out more about the services and offer, what's the best place for them to visit?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have a look at www.blendcommerce.com, you'll see on there's lots of information about the service we provide. And you can also have a look at shopifyexperts.com and look at the listing for Blend Commerce there too.
Amazing. Excellent. Well, thank you for that, Adam.
No problem. Thanks a lot, Kieran. Cheers.
Excellent. Thank you. And thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the chat and learned a little bit about e-commerce. So please do check out the links below the video and visit Adam and his team at Blend Commerce. And no doubt we'll see you in the next video. So this is Kieran from ProfileTree. We're the content marketing agency here in Belfast. See you tomorrow.